Hi, I'm Danny. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'll be addressing a couple of issues that I'm having with my Civic. One is a crunch noise over speed bump. So we're going to look into that and see what I can do about that. And number two is I think I developed an oil leak. I just recently put some O-rings in the hoses on my power steering, and that was all fixed. And then I also replaced the spool valve or the VTEC solenoid gasket, and that fixed the leak. But now I've developed another leak, and it's in that same area. Let's figure out what that is today. Let's get started. Okay, so if I look up here at the return line, so I replaced this O-ring and it's not leaking. And if I look at the pressure hose, I replaced that O-ring too, and it's not leaking. So these are good. If you want to know how to put the O-rings in here, I do have a video on that, and I'll put a link in the description. So if you look up here at the oil pressure switch, so this looks dry, and then the spool valve or the VTEC solenoid, all that looks dry. I did put a VTEC solenoid gasket in here a while back. If you want to see that video, I'll put a link to that in the description. Let me show you where I think the oil's coming from. So it's a little hard to see, but if you look up here at this pipe, so this pipe actually has oil on it, and it comes from the low pressure return line on the power steering pump. And I believe that's where it's coming from. I can even see a little bit of fluid here. So this is the view from the top. This is the power steering reservoir. This is the hose that hooks into that pipe. And to get down there, to tighten that up, I want to remove this ground strap. Now to remove the ground strap, I just have a 10 millimeter. And it's not very tight. I'm just trying to remove this to get it out of the way. Now that it's out of the way, I'm going to just set it aside. Now I can get in there and tighten up that hose. I'm going to just get a 10 millimeter on it. And we're going to see if we can get a few turns out of it to tighten it up. We're getting quite a bit out of it, actually. Maybe a little bit more here. That should do it. As far as that crunching or creaking noise that I hear over bumps, I have a good idea what that is, but let's go check that out. I believe it's my sway bar bushings. So I'm going to go ahead and just take the 2 bolts out, put some lube in here, and then go drive it and see if it goes away. And looking at the other side, same thing. It looks really dry. And then if I look over here at the sway bar links, these actually look okay. So let me go ahead and loosen these bolts and get some silicone spray, put that in there, and I'll take it for a drive. Pretty sure that's my noise. This is what I'm going to use to spray inside those bushings to get that noise to go away. I'm pretty sure that's the noise because I was turning it, and that's the noise I hear when I go over bumps. Let's get this sprayed inside those bushings. Oh, that's good. Let's do the other side the same way. Just, I may not even need bushings, but we'll see. All right, let's get this side back up. It's actually a really simple job. It's 4 bolts, so don't worry about having problems or anything like that. This is probably one of the simplest jobs to do. Let's get the other side on. Put a little bit more lube right there. And then just tighten them up. The torque specification on these are 29 foot-pounds, and I can't emphasize enough how important torquing bolts are. That way you don't break them off or leave them too loose. If you don't think you can afford a torque wrench, this was about $29. And I have a link to this one on my YouTube page. I actually did a full video on these. That turned out really good. I'm gonna do the same thing to the rear sway bar bushings. All right, so the car's turned around. So I used my floor jack, and my jacking location is right here. Let's get it as high as we can. Then we'll slide our jack back in. Right here is where we want to go. So now that both sides are jacked up, let's get under here and check out that sway bar. So I'm looking at this one here. It looks a little bit dry. And then this one also, same thing. I'm going to move this a little bit and see if I can hear anything. This one actually sounds pretty good, but we're going to lube this anyway. Looks like it's a 12 millimeter. All right, let's go to the other side. And these aren't very tight. We'll look up torque specs in a little bit. Okay, there's one. There's number two. That's quiet. That's actually quiet. But we're going to lube them. And it's the same thing here. Just need to get a little bit of lube right inside here. So if you look right here, do you see that little opening? So that's what we're going to try to put that lube in. I should feel a difference. Ooh, look at that, that opening. Yep, that got in there. And then just a little right there. And then let's go to the other side. Push it up. Flip it around, and let's go to the other side. We're going to do the same process. We can find our opening here. Squirt some lube in there. And then we're going to put it right in there also. Made a big difference. Let's get our bolts back on there and get some torque specs and torque these down. So now I just need to torque these down to 16 foot-pounds. If this was an SI, it would be 36 foot-pounds. But this is an EX, so it's 16 foot-pounds. And these links, these are 29 foot-pounds. So I don't know if anybody's noticed, but I do have a little bit of an oil leak here. And that's coming right from my shock. So look for a video on shocks coming up. Let's go ahead and do the other side. 16 foot-pounds. 16 foot-pounds, and I'm done. I hope you learned something in today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. I'm now leaving Amazon affiliate links in my description. If you could use those, it really helps out my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.
Don't wanna